Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dwarven Discussions podcast for March 28th of 2014. We're going to have actually a two-parter podcast. The first part being our pre-discussion on the Elder Scrolls Online. Second part will be our discussion on Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls, what we've thought of it so far, so on and so forth. So, anyway, to begin with, as always, here are the weekly, weekend, daily, whatever deals. So I'm going to pass it off to Tan.
All right, so every week we have our bundle updates, and this week, kind of a slim selection of new stuff. Some of the other ones are still going, but we have the Humble Bundle weekly sale, weekly, uh, which is actually pretty nice. It's the open source celebration. Games like Magical Diary, Offspring Fling, Defender's Quest, Value the Forgotten, Evoland, Eneo Scavenger, Anodyne, Incredipede, and Planet Stronghold. And then after that is the Be Mine 12 bundle from Groupies. Looks like they've only unlocked one of the bonus bundle or bonus games or soundtracks or whatever they decide to add so far of 4, and are working on the second one. But so far we have Sangfroid, Tales of Werewolves, Beat Blasters 3, Gunmetal, Chuck G and the Napkins. I'm guessing that's a soundtrack or something.
What the hell kind of name?
I don't know. I do not make these things up. And then
I want that just because of the name. Like,
I know,
wow.
right? Okay, and then we have Echo of the Wilds, Epigenesis, A Train 8, Mystery Game. I have no idea. I don't know if it's called Mystery Game or I don't know if it is a mystery game. I have no idea. It's just Mystery Game. And then we have the most convoluted name of them all, 30-second half-minute hero Super Mega Neo Climax Ultimate Boy.
Rolls off the tongue so smoothly.
Oh, so smoothly. Yeah, so there's that. Oh, I forgot to say how much it was. $3.50 for the entire bundle off of Groupies, and $6 on Humble Weekly. And then there's it's not really a bundle, but extremely good deals on GOG.com for the Interplay. And I'll pass that back to
Uh,
Bass.
before we get to that though, how long does the humble bundle last?
5 more days and 17 hours.
All right, fantastic. Um, GOG has been doing pretty consistently weekend deals. This weekend is the Interplay promotional deal, which Interplay are the guys who were behind Earthworm Jim, so on and so forth. Uh, there's a large list of games, more than I really want to spend the time going over and discussing on the podcast, but there are quite a few games here that are a really good deal. Uh, Actually, one of my favorite games from when I was younger, Shogo Mobile Armor Division, which is a mech game, is $2.99 right now, and actually I think I might buy that because that's a good deal. And for those of you who don't know, GOG, their big thing is DRM free and compatibility with modern systems. Because as we know, as the PCs moved forward, games that would run on DOS, you have to get an emulator, you have to work through all that. Older Windows games have problems with newer versions of Windows. Well, what GOG does is they go through and it not necessarily reprogram, but kind of reformat the games to work with newer operating systems. And recently, in the past several months, they've actually implemented a money back guarantee. If the game does not work properly on your computer, you have a month, I believe it is, to return it and be refunded for the full purchase price. So give it a look. As always, the links will be in the description for these GOG.com Interplay weekend promo.
And I just want to say, I may or may not be grabbing a couple of these games. Like, Free Space? Hell yeah! $3 for Free Space and the expansion. Yoink.
Yeah, there's some good games on the list, that's for sure.
Alright. So, for part one of this two-part episode, our primary topic is ESO. Pre-thoughts on what they've done so far with... I was not actually expecting that Imperial beta.
I wasn't either, and really, I'm kind of glad that we got a chance to see a closer to final product beta test, and I really liked the Imperial armor. My God, I went into the character creation, and the Imperial armor set. Oh man,
Yeah, those Imperial sets were just mexy. Like, they were so well done compared to the other ones. And it's just, you're definitely gonna have a boost in your income with your Imperial set creation.
at least until the motifs start getting out there.
Oh, definitely. But even then, the Imperial motif is supposed to be retardedly hard to get, so you never know.
Well, that's good because if it's a freaking exclusive race that you have to, either get the collector's edition for, or I believe someone said you'll be able to buy the Imperials for $20. I don't know anything about that.
They were they
I
were
think that
they were talking about adding them as a microtransaction DLC.
personally, I hope they don't, but that's just me because I've got a collector's edition. So
Yeah, it's kind of one of those, hey, yeah, you could buy the collector's edition for Diablo 3, but, if you give us $5, we'll give you the USB drive. That's the whole point I bought the collector's edition for.
yeah. Oh man, we should try to avoid Diablo though because, as you said, the USB thing. I could have just gone over my disappointments with the Reaper of Souls collector's edition, but Elder Scrolls. This is Elder Scrolls,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, it was
The
just
last
making a
beta
comparison.
Yeah, I know, but I like to go off on different tangents, and the moment we start
Yeah.
talking about something else, 5 minutes later we'll be talking about teacup poodles or something. Anyway,
Teacup
Uh,
poodles.
it's not to say that the other races' armor looks bad, because it doesn't. It fits their races. I mean, if you look at the Nord armor, it looks like what you'd wear in Skyrim. And, that's cool and all, but the Imperial armor, there's something about it. It just looks really good. And personally, as someone who's gotten the Imperial edition, I think that it kind of, it's an aesthetic thing that really adds value to what you've gotten. So.
Oh yeah, I will completely agree. I mean, the other races' armor, I don't like some of them, just for some odd reason. It does not appeal to me, so I probably won't play that race. Or I'll, make gear for it with a different character or something. But the Imperial gear, just the look of it is just amazing to me. I mean, with the Imperial beta, I didn't really get to do a whole lot past character creation because I had a lot of work that weekend, but I did get to get in. I created a character, played around with the character editor, and the Imperial differences compared to like human or whatever they called it. I don't remember. But like the difference in hairstyles, yeah, those. But like the difference in hairstyles, facial textures, features, stuff like that, that was amazing. But the armor, when you're just sitting there going, okay, I made my character, what class do I want it to be? and then you just look at the basic armor and you're like, oh, that's actually really cool. And then you look at the, um, I think they flagged it like veteran armor or something like that, or advanced armor or something like that.
Yeah, it was veteran.
But when you clicked on that one to see what you would look like, semi end game, you looked like a fucking badass.
Yeah, you really looked like a Roman legionary or something.
Yeah, like, don't touch me. I will chop your head off with a dagger.
Yeah, even the sorcerer veteran armor looked really like it gave you this feeling of I am an Imperial, don't fuck with me.
Yeah, yeah. Like you click on you click on Khajiit and you select a caster or whatever, and it's like, oh, it's just a cloth robe with a little design on the back. Okay, whatever. You click on Imperial, you click the caster. You're wearing a plated robe. Like,
Yeah, or you look at the orcs, the leather armor for the orcish style. It's like the most disgusting puke green color ever. It's just like you don't really look very intimidating. You look like someone who stands out like a sore thumb is asking to die.
yeah, I mean, I'll scour Google and see if I can find some pictures to post up during this. But oh my god, the Imperial armor just looks so much better to me than pretty much everything else I looked at. I mean, I'm sure there are people who will disagree. I'm sure there are people who will like the Khajiit armor better, or will um, will like the lizard men. I can never remember their name because I fucking hated them.
Argonian.
Argonian armor better, but personally, I just like the Imperial armor better. It looks better aesthetically to me.
And everyone's entitled to their opinion. I mean, look at us. We're doing a podcast that's literally nothing but our opinions. And we welcome differing opinions, and it brings about uniqueness. If everyone liked the exact same armor, that'd get pretty dull, seeing everyone as legionary. But honestly, I feel personally that it looks better. I love Nordic and Celtic, all that kind of stuff. Just the armor they wear, and like real life and in Elder Scrolls, the way the Nords wear their armor, just I love it. I love that Celtic look, but the Imperial just takes it up so many notches. It just looks too good, like in comparison. I think now that I think about it, that could be a problem because the Imperial, like we were saying, it's a good bonus. It's something that looks really good, and you have to have the Imperial or the motif, which is going to be rare to get to make that armor. That's a really good looking set by comparison to a lot of the other sets, and that kind of makes me go, people are gonna not like that if they look at their armor and then they look at the Imperial armor and go, why does our set look so much shittier and so much more thrown together?
Yeah, it could be a problem, but mm, then again, there's going to be people who like the other ones better. So I don't know. We'll really have to see how that pans out, and if it really gives that much of an increase in, I guess, profitability of having an Imperial, because people are going to pay you and give you the mats to make the gear so that they can have that look. And without having the Imperial City unlocked at the start of the game, it's really going to limit where you can farm to try and get that motif.
Yeah, honestly though, when I played, there was that one. It wasn't the last beta test, but the beta test before that. I made I made a bunch of alts, just trying all kinds of different things out. And as I was bringing one of my alts through the initial starting experience, I found two motifs, like one chest after another in the freaking starting prison. So I don't know, like that was probably an astronomical once in a lifetime like occurrence for like how easily I found two motifs, but they're rare. They are very rare, and it's kind of good to know that they're going to be rare, and that the Imperial race is going to have that benefit of having, for I think a lot of people, really good looking armor, And I think that blacksmiths and tailors, leather workers, such and so forth, well, excuse me, blacksmiths and clothiers, since leatherworking and tailoring is kind of the same thing in Elder Scrolls Online. I think that they're going to turn quite a bit of profit just on visuals alone if they get their blacksmithing up, especially since I didn't see anything that was character bound. Like armor wise, I didn't see anything crafted. Quest times, I didn't see anything that said bound to characters. So unless they change that, I mean, God, I could gush over how great the crafting and the loot system is for hours, but we've already done that. Needless to say, I agree. I think Imperials are going to make a lot of profit on armor and weapon craft with their exclusive armors.
Most definitely, at least in the early game. Um, I mean, a couple months down the road when, more people have Imperials, when they unlock the Imperial City and whatever, yeah, their profitability is going to go down, but they're going to make an ass load off of just making armor for people in the early game, just because people are going to want that look.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Mm, the only the only downside I see to really having an Imperial is nothing. I cannot think of a single downside. You can be pretty much anything on any faction. And you have a...
Actually, I can already tell you a downside.
Oh, what's that?
The community. Here's the problem. Elder Scrolls Online, a lot of us are excited for it. As we saw on the podcast, we're excited, but we're not blinded. We're not going to go into blind fanboyism, zealous white knighting of the game saying it's perfect. It's got its flaws.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. There's also a group of players in the game, and it's with every game, World of Warcraft, Diablo, all of them, who absolutely, I don't know what it is, but they target out the people who get the collector's edition, and when they see you got an Imperial, they're going to give you a lot of flack. They're going to be like, wow, look who has all this. It's just, it's hard to say, but expect some slinging. I don't know why, but with Elder Scrolls Online, there is a lot of hate for the Imperial race. I think it stems from the fact that it is exclusive content. You have to get the collector's edition, or if they ever do decide to, you'll have to pay the extra money just for that race. Expect some mudslinging. There's going to be people who maybe want to play an Imperial but didn't get a collector's edition for whatever reason. They didn't have the money, they didn't want to spend the money, whatever. I think the Imperials, if you're playing it, you may or may not get a little bit of extra mudslinging. But at the same time, when we were playing, it was really hard to differentiate player from NPC. And as bad as this sounds, because everyone's going to say there are a lot of differences, all the humanoid races kind of really blended together for me.
Yeah, they kind of did. It was really hard to tell who is playing what. Like, um, just our group together when we were playing, and unfortunately didn't really get to live stream this because OBS did not like Elder Scrolls. But when we did actually get past the tutorial island and started playing past that and grouping together like 4 of us at a time, we really couldn't tell what each other's races were because we were getting such mixed gear. Like, I would pick up, like, I think I was playing Redguard or something like that, and I would pick up, like, Khajiit gear. Well, nobody knew what any of that looked like at the time because none of us had a whole lot of experience with it, and it the fact that you can't...
Well, here's the big thing. Sorry.
The fact that you can't really tell who is what becomes a problem with that.
Well, the armor is one thing, but I mean like a Redguard, a Imperial, a Nord, a Brenton, all the human races, they pretty much look the same. I mean, because you can change the skin tones quite a bit. You can make an Imperial look like a Red Guard. You can make a Red Guard look like a Nord. Like the hairstyles, I mean, each one's got some unique ones, but there's a lot of them that share. And my big thing is like I was saying, Imperial, the people who play Imperials are going to get a lot of flack. But then I kind of realized, well, the people who play Imperials are probably going to blend in quite well with the other human races. Like you can tell who an orc is because they got green skin, they got tusks. You can tell who a Khajiit is because well they're cat people. If you can't tell the difference between a Khajiit and a human, wow. Uh, you know, it's just I don't know. Really, the discussion I was going to get in is the Imperials receive a lot of hate because they are uh, gated content, quote unquote. It's an extra race that you have to pay for, you have to get, and there are a lot of people that really do not like that. And I'm just saying there might be some bias take from it. Be ready to expect that as an Imperial.
Yeah, I could see it. I can understand that, but yeah, I also really don't think anybody's really going to be able to tell the difference.
No, I don't think so either. But it's fair to say
It's
because it happens with every MMO, and with Elder Scrolls Online doing the whole like, oh, you get this entire race that no one else has access to if they didn't get the collector's edition. A lot of people really don't like that, and they'll take out their frustration on the people who do have it.
I will tell you one big major flag that is going to flag you as an Imperial player. Your free mount.
Yeah. Well, is that okay? So the question for that is that for only making an Imperial character, or do you get that free mount just for having the collector's edition on any of your characters?
Any character, but at least I think it's any character. But either way, it's going to flag you as being an Imperial Collector's Edition owner.
That's true. That's true. People are going to look at that and yeah, I'm pretty sure that's going to be another thing that's going to piss them off is because mounts are not cheap. Like the cheapest one was 15,000 gold, which if you save all your money, you don't do any crafting, you don't buy extra bag space, you don't buy gear, you don't buy like soul shards, you don't buy anything, you'll be able to get it probably by around, I don't know, level 12, level 15, depending on how well you manage your money. But
Yeah,
I mean, that's a low tier horse. Like the better tier horses are like 42,000 gold. So what we're getting with the free Imperial mount is, I believe, one of the better tier horses for free.
yeah, it's one of the high tier horses for free with the speed upgrades already in place.
Oh
So
wow, I didn't even know about that. That's
yeah, you're looking at like 150,000 gold worth of mount for free.
oh wow, I didn't even know about that. Okay, yeah, see that's definitely something that people are gonna get pissed at you for, and I don't know. People are people. If you've played any MMO before this, if this is your first MMO, it might be a little shocking. But if you've played any MMO before this, you know how people are. You know how the community gets.
Yeah, you get something privileged and they feel disprivileged and they try and take it out on you and you're just like, I had the extra $60 to spend on it and you didn't want to do that. I did. Not my fault.
Yeah,
They're gonna take it out on you,
but
but whatever. Just ignore it.
with with that said, I like the mounts in this game. I like the stable, how you actually have to buy food and bedding and all this kind of stuff for your horse, and there's upkeep to it, otherwise your horse starts to like downgrade. I like that. That is awesome because I don't know, it's not something the casual player who like plays WoW just like, oh, I got my horse is gonna really enjoy. But when I was like mounting my horse and it's like your horse is starving, it's like, oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
It's something that when we were talking about immersion, Elder Scrolls Online has plenty of it. The fact that without like going in there and manually turning stuff on, you will go into a town and it'll look just packed with people that will blend in perfectly with the NPCs. Like they blend in so well. Like the immersion of the game is fantastic, and then that you've got the fact that you've got to feed your horse, you've got to do all this stuff. I think it adds to the game. Some people are going to find it really annoying, and other people are going to love it. Personally, I enjoy it because it means I have to put extra effort in to keep my horse at like its top speed and its top capability.
Yeah, like you look at some of the other games like EverQuest, where it has like, oh, if you're on a mount, your mount requires food and water too. Otherwise, you don't regen health or mana. Well, that's cool. It just means if you're on a mount, it utilizes twice the food and water to regen mana. Whatever. In this game, if you don't feed and water your horse, it slowly degrades to the point where you could have your 150,000 gold horse degrade down to the quality of a 15,000 gold horse if you don't take care of it. And I have no idea how fast it degrades or how much food or water it takes to do that. So I have no idea if it's going to be too much upkeep, if it's going to turn into like ESO's version of Farmville or whatever, but it seems like a really fun and immersive mechanic to me.
It's something I think that it goes along the thing where if you're just given everything, you don't really appreciate it. Like, we're being given the horse, yeah, but we still gotta give it upkeep. So we still gotta take care of it, we still gotta pay for its food, we still gotta do that stuff. I think that not only does it add to the immersion of the game, it adds to the appreciation because you're going, if I wasn't doing this, my horse would be not up to par. I'm actually managing it and staying like I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's something that I really enjoy, and I'm glad it's in the game.
Me too. It would be really boring if it was just another, oh, click this button, I now have a horse. It would completely take out of the immersion.
You know, and it's something different. Okay, everyone wants to be the next World of Warcraft, and I think that they've been taking a lot of risks in this game. But one of the risks I think that they are not really thinking about is how buggy the game is, which brings me to the next point, which I've been playing the Elder Scrolls Online beta since September. I'm sure there's people who've been playing before me. Since September of last year, all the way to the last beta test, which was a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever, they have the bugs that have been in there have still been there the entire time. Since September all the way till March, the same game-breaking quest bugs have been there. That we talked about this earlier. It's still there, and that's a big problem, a really big problem. If you've got a quest that you're unable to do because it's bugged and it's part of the main quest line, that's going to turn away a lot of people really quickly. Everyone seems to focus on end game content, and it's true. If you get up to max level and there's nothing to do, it's going to turn a lot of people away. But on the same spectrum, if you start the game and you can't even complete the most basic quests because enemies won't spawn when you try to summon them, levers to disable a trap for a quest that you have to disable, like in your quest list, uh, the levers, non-interactable, and so you can't complete it all. Those are really big things, and the fact that those same bugs, which I've reported multiple times through several different beta tests, that those bugs are still persistent even up to the very last beta test they did, bothers me. And everyone always goes, well, it's a beta. Things are gonna change. Well, this isn't even the most up to date build. They've got a more up to date build that's gonna fix everything. Like there's some
Oh
magical patch
God,
out there that's it's ridiculous, right?
that is a completely moot point. Yes, probably the developers have a little bit more up-to-date version, but it's not like they have, a completed game that they're not letting the players test. No, it's okay. Well, we got this benchmark. Throw it at the players. Start working on the next one, and use that beta test to see what bugs in this build we need to fix before we throw that one at the players. Yes, there is a little bit of that, but it's not like, oh well, in in beta, we're working on version 0.18a, while the developers are working on 1.63b. No, it doesn't work like that. We're on
Yeah, that's
0.18a. They're on 0.18.1a.
or maybe further. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not going to be a huge gap. It's not going to be like we're playing, version 0.1 beta. They're playing version 1.0 final. It's not going to be that huge of a gap. Yeah, they've got a more up to date version, but not by that much. And it's ridiculous because those same people. Okay, so you find a bug, you report it. After you're like, hey, is this quest bugged? Did anyone else having problems? It's like, yeah, this quest is bugged. The moment you say, wow, that kind of sucks. We're 2 months away from beta. The moment you say that, all of a sudden every white knight comes out of the woodworks and they're like, it's a beta. It's supposed to have bugs. Things are going to change. Don't complain in here. Make a report. Blah, blah, blah. And like one person is like, I'll be glad when all the complainers are gone. And my thought is, what's going to happen? If all the complainers were gone, if all the people who actually cared enough about the game to speak up about it are gone, when the game releases, it's going to be full of bugs, and guess what? You're going to be gone. And you know what? I bet those people who are saying, oh, I can't wait for the complainers to be gone, they're going to play for 1 month. If the game is still bugging on release, I'm praying that I will eat my words and that when it comes out, a lot of those bugs will be gone. Those people, the moment they see those bugs are still there, they're just going to quit. They're not going to say anything, but they're just going to quit. Those are the people saying, I can't wait for the complainers to be gone. This game's going to be so good. You don't even know what you're talking about. And the game turns out to be a buggy mess. And it's like, how did that happen? Well, I fucking wonder how that happened. Could it be the fact that these bugs have been in there since September?
Yeah, or earlier. I don't know what people think when they say that shit. It's like, okay, so if... Okay, so this is how betas are supposed to work. They release a beta to you. They start working on the next beta. The people who play the beta report bugs. The next beta fixes some of those bugs. Granted, not all of them because it's going to take time to work. But they fix some. And they just keep doing beta release after beta release after beta release until as many bugs that were found or that they can fix were fixed. A lot of the game-breaking bugs that they've had since September or earlier are simple bugs that everybody knows about. It's not like, oh, well, it's, a 1 in 10 million chance that you might run into a stick on the ground that'll insta-gib you. We have no idea why that's happening. No, it's, this quest requires you to right-click on this staff. It summons a creature. You need to kill it. Well, when you right-click the staff, it does the animation. Nothing.
It's so crazy how it's just like bugs. Okay, so a game's gonna have bugs. I mean, come on, we've played since vanilla. My God, the bugs
Yeah.
that original World of Warcraft had that people seem to forget about. Like, do you remember when Encourage came out, which was like the people have declared that is the best patch in World of Warcraft. The
If
moment
you don't
Encourage
count the
came out,
bugs.
yeah, you take a boat, congratulations, you're now underground in Redridge Mountains, frozen and unable to do anything until the server crashes.
Yeah. 6 hours later, a GM might get to you because they're busy moving all the other people back to where they're supposed to be.
Server downages, like bugs everywhere. A game's gonna have bugs. Let's face it. We're not expecting Elder Scrolls Online to come out sparkling clean and perfect. What we are expecting is the most basic and common quests in the first 5 to 10 minutes of playing at least work properly. And if they have been broken, like I said, it could have been before September. I got in September. That was my first test. Since then, all the way up to the very last test they did just a few weeks ago, those same bugs are still there. Glaring bugs that completely put a stop to your progression.
Yeah,
That can't happen.
yeah, it's not like, oh, well, okay, we'll relog and do it. It just glitched out. No, it's relog and try again, relog and try again, relog and try again. 4 hours later, it finally decides to spawn it, or someone else magically got it to spawn, and you put your name on the aggro table so you got credit.
Yeah, in Daggerfall, outside the city, there's a quest you do with the weird druids, which I say that people are gonna go the weird druids. That sounds okay. But
WYRD.
yeah, you're doing a quest with the weird druids, and you're supposed to kill some corrupted elementals outside a giant tree. In order to do that, you have to click on Gnarled Root, which will bring forth a guy who summons the elemental for you, and then you fight it. In order to complete that quest, which Tana here didn't even get to complete. He had to go do a different quest to get to level 10 so we could go do PvP, but he didn't even get to do that quest because he couldn't get to work. Basically, I had to log out, log back in. Is the root there? Awesome. Click it. Did it work? Nope. Log back out, log back in, hope that I got the root to appear again, because what it does is when you log out and log back in, and we've explained the mega server, illusion that they've got. It's
Yeah.
actually a bunch of different servers that have been CRZ'd together in a very seamless manner.
Yeah.
You're basically hoping that you get on one that's not bugged. I had to do that for each of the bosses, and I went through at least a couple dozen login, logouts just trying to get that quest alone completed. The fact that that quest is still bugged from since September all the way now. The fact that that quest is still bugged, and we've said something over and over. We've put in our bug reports. We've talked about in the zone chat, all kinds of things, and all like people can do is white knight the game and say, you don't know what you're talking about. There's some mysterious magical patch out there that will make the game 100%. Shut the fuck up. You don't even know what you're fucking talking about.
Yeah, don't tell someone who's played 200, 300 something MMO or game betas to stop complaining about a beta. We're doing it for a reason. So that shit will get fixed when the game comes out so that you can actually play the game.
As people being blinded.
Yeah.
They're blinded by their their zealousness for the Elder Scrolls series. I love Elder Scrolls. I love Elder Scrolls Online. If I didn't love Elder Scrolls Online, I wouldn't have gotten the collector's edition. I'm speaking up because I love Elder Scrolls Online, because these are things that are going to look bad on it. Okay, I don't want the Elder Scrolls Online to fail. One of the biggest things is I don't want it to go free to play. I want this game to stay pay to play. I want to be good enough that can actually support a pay to play model. And if this game is really buggy, if it's got all these issues right off the start, that's going to push away a big chunk of consumers. Uh, if the few who do stay by and stick it out, and hopefully, even though for the months and months of beta nothing got fixed, hopefully it gets fixed. It could have been enough of a loss. The game could have been, could have gotten a bad enough rep. Which, as we know, there are various big sites that have already been saying, Elder Scrolls Online is going to be the biggest failure of 2014. If the players who do play the game come in and it gives them that horrible starting experience, and it does turn out to be the big flop of 2014, it's probably going to go free to play, and then, honestly, in my opinion, it's just going to go downhill from there. Most games that convert to free to play don't do it very gracefully at all. I mean, look at Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Yep.
That game was so good, and then it went free to play, and it's just a shell of its former self.
Speaking of Star Wars Tour, I actually called that. I said to my friend who was going to switch from WoW to Star Wars Tour, I went, within 1 year, that game is going to be free to play. Like a day before the 1 year marker, boop, here, start playing free to play. I called it because I already knew that it was going to go free to play because of all the press releases and everything that just was so bad about the game. And I'm saying it right now, if they don't fix these glitches and these bugs, it's probably going to go free to play.
Which I hate so much. I hate even thinking about it. Just the very thought crossing my mind upsets me, because I love the Elder Scrolls series. This game's not perfect, but it's a ton of fun. It's got the best crafting system I have seen in a very long time. I don't want it to fail. I don't think that, anyone who really cares for the game wants it to fail, but we have to make our voices heard. We want the game to be good. The developers, the whole point of the beta was for us to bug test. We're pretty much unpaid workers. We go through, we find the bugs, we play what they ask us to play. Every test they have a list of, we want you to at least, go through this stuff, see how it works. I did my part. I reported my bugs. I reported on several tests. I reported feedback, which, you could say your personal opinion on how you felt about something. So there's /bug/feedback. I did all of that, and the stuff still persists. And I don't know, it bothers me. Really, we've talked about this in great length before. We're talking about it in great length now. This is a concern. This is something real, guys. This is not some they've got a magical patch in a way. It's gonna have these bugs unless something changes. And I hope to high heavens, I hope that I'm wrong. I hope there is a magical patch somewhere out there. And this is me being a fanboy. I wish with everything in my being that when it launches, those bugs have all been magically taken care of. All of them. I hope there's this mystical, magical patch that everyone seems to believe in. Because if there is, fantastic. I will eat my words and I will be happy. But, guys, we're realists here.
We're coming from an extensive background in beta testing and seeing games either succeed or fail. And this is shit on the cusp of complete catastrophe.
I don't want to see Elder Scrolls Online 2014 biggest flop. I don't want to see that come true. I don't want to see everyone who said this game's going to fail be right because of people saying, it's beta, don't worry about it. People who didn't do their job on the beta test, who didn't make the bug reports. Developers who didn't fix this stuff over months of testing. I don't want to see this fail. I really don't. It's going to be really heartbreaking for me if this does fail, because this is a game that I've been looking forward to for so long.
Yeah, this is what everybody's been trying to do with, like, Oblivion Online, the mod, and Skyrim multiplayer mod. And this is what everybody's been trying to do, but all the Elder Scrolls all in one in an official MMO fashion. Not, 3 people playing the game but unable to do anything together because the game can't figure out how to manage multiple clients. It's really well done and really fun, except these bugs. These game-breaking, heartbreaking bugs.
Well, at this point, it's out of our hands. We did everything we could, Tana. We made all the reports we could. We left all the feedback we could. We discussed in the community all we could, and the naysayers were there. The white knights who want to believe that this game will have some magical super fix. We've done all we can. We can just hope that does get fixed. So really, that's all we can do.
Yeah.
But moving,
as
we should move this.
Yeah.
Okay. You first.
As much as I want to be the good guy and say it's going to be an amazing game, and there's nothing wrong with it, I really don't mind being the bad guy and saying it's kinda good. Fun with problems.
Yeah, I know exactly how you feel. I mean, God, when I was in the first beta test and my other friends, later on in the later betas were like, yeah, I got into the beta test. I was like, okay, sit down, listen to me for a moment.
We need to talk.
Lower your expectations. Don't go into this thinking it's going to be Skyrim Online, and don't go into this thinking that it's going to be bug-free, because it's not. Like, I had to have that discussion. That was hard for a game that I freaking... When you love a game so much, and you have to literally sit down to your friends and say, look, just lower your expectations when you go in. It's gonna be good, but come on, because you don't want people to like just push the game off and say, well, this game sucks, and then they just never really invest in it or play it. I just, God, really, this has become one of the most depressing parts of this discussion so far. So I'm gonna move on,
Yeah,
and
move on
I'm
time.
gonna say move on time. The alliances. So we pre-ordered, and so we get to play any race on any faction during our beta test. Which like I said, I played many alts. So I played all three factions: Aldemari, Daggerfall, and my very first test I did Ebonheart. After that, I stopped because I knew I wanted to play Ebonheart when the game actually came out. So I wanted to everything to be fresh, everything to be new and exciting. So out of all three factions, we're choosing the Ebonheart pack, which are the Nords, the Argonians, and the Dark Elves, which is the big, we all hate each other. We don't really like anyone in this faction, but we're together because of necessity. So we're gonna go with that faction, but I'm curious as to what race you're gonna be choosing, Tana. Are you gonna be going with the Imperial?
Well, I was originally going to play a tank, so I may just go for the Imperial because of the large amount of tank bonuses they go, but if I end up going with the Sorcerer, I'm probably going to go with the Breton. The Breton seemed to have what I think was the best racial bonuses for what I wanted to play as a sorcerer, and the Imperial, in my opinion, is just broken as a tank.
Oh man, that life on hit. It's not
Yeah,
even life steal. It's just when you hit it, you get a set amount of life.
yeah, yeah. We all know how broken as hell that is in other games. I can't imagine it being any not broken in this one, unless it has some kind of like scaling based on what you're hitting or something. But or if the scaling itself is horrible. But I mean, all the scaling for the other racials that I've seen in game so far scale fairly well, so I can't imagine this one being too bad.
Yeah, and that's like what I was getting at. Is it's not life steal, which you go like, oh, you heal for 15% of your damage done, because then you have to take into account, okay, you did a melee attack, which will do like 58 physical damage, but then you take into account armor, so you reduce that, and then you get a percentage from that. No, this is literally every time you hit, you will get this set amount of life. It's a
Yeah.
lot. Like it's very much an overpowered racial for a tank or like a quick hitting like melee DPS like dual wielding. I'm pretty sure the dual wield Imperial is gonna have a lot of self healing.
Oh, I'm sure. And then on top of that, like you go, um, was it dual wield? I'm just gonna call it rogue 'cause I can't remember what it's called. Um, yeah, dual wield Imperial rogue. You're gonna hit for a lot. You're gonna hit quick. You're gonna have a lot of life steal, and you are gonna have a lot of mitigation.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm really with the Elder Scrolls games. It's always been I choose my race and then I kind of do my build around that. I haven't really ever looked at the racials, but being that I am an MMO player above an Elder Scrolls player, it's something I gotta look at the racials, and I just have to say, there's two classes I want to play. I either want to play a ranger, and if I play a bow using class, a ranger, I'm going to be playing. I'm going to be playing what elf? Oh god! Oh, I can taste it. Ew, disgusting. There's one thing this dwarf hates, and that's elves. Oh,
I
but
cannot
the
see you playing an
racial.
elf. I'm sorry, I cannot see you playing an elf.
I gave him the biggest beard I can.
What, an inch?
Yeah, it's a wood elf ranger is why I play, just because the racials are so good. And honestly, I don't like elves. I've never liked elves ever since EverQuest, which kind of turned me away from elves because they're so, prissy and rude and snobby. So I was just like, eh. So I've always been a dwarf guy. I like the rowdy little, merry, we drink a lot of alcohol, we kick the shit out of wherever we want. Those guys. I love those guys. I hate elves, but when the racials are just so good that you have to go, I need to be an elf, what can you do? Uh, but recently I've also been considering doing a tank. And if I go tank, I'll most likely go Imperial. While I would like to play a Nord, that life on hit for the Imperials is just really good, like too good to pass up. You got, shield specialization, you got life on hit, you got extra health, like it's perfect. The Imperials are set up to be the perfect tanky characters, and I think that might be one of my options to play. So I think that's what I'm going to choose for my faction or my race. I'm either going to be a elf archer or I'm going to be a Imperial tank, and oh god, I feel sick at my stomach.
Well, you could always make both. I'm probably going to end up making both at some point.
Yeah.
And then just pick whichever one I like more to be my main.
Yep, exactly. And which is, honestly, one of the things I'm excited for is I hope everyone picks a main and sticks with it because hi, my name is Kelly with the Dwarven Discussions, and I am a altaholic.
My name is Tana with Dwarven Discussions, and I am a serious alcoholic. Oh god.
Yeah,
I need help.
That's the problem is I want to stick with a character, but then the grass is always greener on the other side, and I'm like I switch between characters. Like, and WoW is especially grown hard is because like there's so many class specs that I like, but then I hate the other specs for that class. So like I may like Frost Death Knights, which have the simplest rotation to man, but I want to be a healer. So I like Paladin, like I like Prot Paladins, but I hate Holy and Retribution. I like Resto Druids, but I hate everything else with that class. And I don't know, I kind of go back and forth because like there's different things I want to do when I'm in a different mood. So the good thing is there's stat respecking in this game, and there's ability respecking. So you can re-roll where you put your stat points in, health, stamina, and magicka. You can re-roll what you put your abilities in. So really, you can start your character completely over at any time, and that's kind of nice because that, if you really think about it, in this game, that would be the equivalent of a class change in World of Warcraft, which as you know, doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives you this freedom to go, I played this character for so long, but I want to play an archer and I don't really want to re-roll and level up again. I can pay to have my stats completely reset and make the archer that I want to play. So that's kind of a bonus.
Yeah, and really the only thing you're going to lose is your... The only thing you're going to lack out on is your racial bonuses for the archer. If you went with Imperial, you won't have the Wood Elf archery bonuses. And your class-specific abilities, which, I mean, half the time when we were doing PvP in the big battleground, a lot of people were just throwing on bows and just face raping because bows were broken as hell.
Yeah, ranged damage, mostly bows. Casters weren't as ridiculous, but range damage in PvP was king in big group battles.
Yeah, if you could keep your casters safe, they could clear groups. But the majority of the damage was actually coming from people equipping bows and just picking off targets. So, like, you would have everybody with their bow just starting at some person and just going down the line, and when they got to your wall, throw on a staff and just start dropping ice balls on them and just clearing the waves. Rinse, repeat.
Yep. It's, I don't know. We've talked about the combat. Going back to race, I think that I know what I want to play fairly well. You know what you want to play fairly well. It'll be interesting to see what our friends go with, and we are going to get the guild up. Are we going to go with Who Armed the Care Bears? again?
Uh, yeah, we can. I mean, that's what we've been doing in Eve, Diablo, a couple other games. We can do that. We can pick a different name. Um, I mean, hell, we can even just go with Dwarven Discussions. That way people can find us.
Yeah, yeah, we could go with the Dwarven discussions. So, anyway, and we don't really have very many followers right now, not many viewers. If you like what you hear in the podcast, like, favorite, subscribe, and if you're interested in the games we play and you want to join the guild, I mean, I don't think we'll ever turn anyone down. But we are all planning to play on the Ebonheart Pact. If you are a smelly elf, I will kill you, even though I'm gonna be an elf.
You will commit homicide versus your own race.
Just after every PvP match, I will just kneel down and commit seppuku.
That would be hilarious. Oh my
So,
god.
anyway, I'm excited for the Elder Scrolls Online. It is going to be good. I'm hoping that the magical fairy patch that everyone seems to think exists. But if it doesn't, I still think it's going to be a good game. I'm still looking forward to it. We are only 2 days away from the 5-day head start. So looking forward to it. I hope all of you listening are looking forward to it. Hope that this doesn't turn out to be the big bomb that everyone is expecting it's going to be. And I've got nothing but hope for this game.
Yeah, I'm really hoping they have that magical fairy patch as well because those game-breaking bugs are just going to drive me insane. I mean, I'm a diehard for Elder Scrolls. I played every single one. I'm going to play this one to. I mean, it's an MMO, so you can't really beat it, but I'm going to play it to completion. I'm going to get to max level on at least 2 characters. I'm going to try all the dungeons, as many of the quests as I can find, do some PvP, try out their quasi version of raiding. I'm not quite sure how that's going to turn out, but here's hoping. That's all I can say is here's hoping.
Yep. And because this is a two-parter, and we could go on, I would love to go over and discuss their end game plans for Elder Scrolls because there's a lot of interesting stuff in here. In fact, why don't we throw a link in the description of the video for the Elder Scrolls Online veteran content is what they're calling it, which is their end game, because it's not traditional. And while normally I'd love to discuss it, we are kind of tried for time today since we have to do 2 separate podcasts. We were going to do one extra long podcast, but that would have turned out to have been like 4 hours straight, so we're breaking it up directly after this a little bit later today. We are going to upload the Diablo 3 section of our two-part podcast. So, but for the Elder Scrolls portion, thank you for listening. We are all looking forward to the Elder Scrolls Online. Don't take our negativity as we're hating the game, we're bashing it. No, we say it because we love the game. We want it to be better than what it is. And, hopefully we'll see you out there in Cyrodiil.
Yeah, give us a shout if you see us in game. We'll post our names up on a public spot here on Dwarven Discussions and possibly a couple forums. Give us a shout if you want to join the. I almost called it a corp. If you want to join the guild, go ahead. I don't have any problems with it.
You've been playing too much Eve.
I
Anyway,
have been.
thank you all for listening. We're going to have to do an Eve episode sometime.
Probably.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you all for listening. If you have any comments or you want to join in the Dwarven discussion that's going on currently about the Elder Scrolls, what your thoughts are, what your hopes are, what your fears are, leave a comment below. Make sure to like, favorite, subscribe, share this video with your friends. And until next time, I guess we'll see you in a short while since we're doing another episode.
Woohoo! 2-parter! Be back in. I don't know. It'll probably be uploaded within like a couple hours of each other.